First off, I'd just like to thank my chief, Director Lewis, Commissioner Long, Colonel Perry, and Sheriff Bledsoe, and the media and others who are here today, giving me the opportunity to share in the same goal, and that goal is to create greater awareness on preventing drinking and driving. Hopefully I will be able to get through a sentence or thought without crying. Being here at this stadium brings back some of the best of memories I ever made with my son. Destin loved football, and anyone who knew him knew that he was the ultimate, and I mean the ultimate Titans fan. Destin and I made great memories here, to include tailgating, spending time with friends, family. But one of the favorite things that he and I love to do most was throwing the football. Throwing the football in this parking lot right outside here in this stadium. Doing that right before it was time to come into the stadium and watch the Titans play football. I could talk forever about my memories of my son Destin, but I know my time is limited. Sadly, my story is not only one of too many. Some similar have the same story as I have, and unfortunately, their stories are much worse than mine. My life was unexpectedly changed forever in the morning of hours, or in the hours on June the 18th, 2020. That morning, I received a phone call that any parent fears. I was told that my son Destin was involved in a bad vehicle crash. My instinct, like any mother or father, was to ask, is he okay? I was told the vehicle crash was not good and that I needed to hurry up and get to Vanderbilt Hospital. I quickly left my house and began making my way to that hospital. I arrived.
It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. You got this.
I arrived at Vanderbilt Hospital. It was motioned to the Vanderbilt, or by the Vanderbilt Police Department to park directly in front. Straight away, I knew something was very wrong. As I approached the hospital doors, I was met outside by Destin's supervisor and a few of his co-workers. I will never forget the look on his supervisor's face before he spoke. There's a face when you witness, you already know it's coming. And you try to embrace for it, but there's no way to embrace for it. What I was told was, Destin did not make it. I felt myself gasping for air, my body buckled, and I fell to the ground in total disbelief that my son was gone. Emotions overwhelmed my mind. I cried hysterically in total shock. I was lost. Family and friends quickly arrived to the hospital after the word had spread, and together we all shared in the tragic loss of my son. The thought of a husband, a son, a brother, a nephew, a great friend to others was gone. And still to this day, that pain stays the same. Vanderbilt staff allowed myself, his mother Julie, wife Heather, and me to see Destin one last time before he was transported to the medical examiner's office. The three of us walked into a small room where my son laid in a hospital bed. To see my son laying lifeless in a bed with an intubation tube will be an image that will forever haunt my mind. It was heart-wrenching to see my son, Destin, pale, lifeless. There are no absolute words to describe the mental trauma this inflicted upon me and other family members. I remember kissing Destin's cold forehead, wishing he would wake up and come back to life. I whispered in his ear, telling him I was deeply sorry that his life had been taken and that I loved him so very much. That horrific day, the weeks and the months that followed were all a blur. I, like many others, spent countless nights with little to no sleep. I became depressed. I would ramble and cry uncontrollably when emotions would blindside me. I lived each day after the next with a monumental amount of emptiness in my heart. I was completely lost and living my days incredibly sad or angry. While on the surface, I was tiresomely trying to pretend everything in my life was okay. But honestly, my soul was completely crushed. I continually found myself feeling guilty to have life and wishing God had taken me instead of my son. This no longer being here today has been the worst pain I've ever felt, and is just downright indescribable. I miss him beyond measure every day. I miss his phone calls. I miss his texts, his voice, his laugh. I miss watching him continue to grow and navigate his life while fulfilling his dreams. Destin wanted a family and was in the planning stages of having his own children. It crushes me. It crushes my heart, shatters my heart that he will never, ever, ever get to experience being a father. I miss everything that made Destin so special, and I was so extremely proud to be his father. The details of the crash Destin was a victim of came a few days later. Just before 5 a.m. on June the 18th, 2020, Destin, who was a Brentwood police officer, was ending his shift and driving to park his patrol car before heading home when he was struck head-on by a drunk driver. Her BAC was twice the legal limit while operating her vehicle with no headlights on and driving in the opposite lane of travel. These actions of this drunk driver took the life of my son and hit him head on. Destin's life was abruptly and unexpectedly cut way too short, and it deeply saddens me he is no longer here today with us. A parent should never have to bury their child, but a parent should never have to unnecessarily bury their child as a direct result, as an act by another, which is 100% preventable. It sickens me and other survivors like me of the carnage that is left behind by these tragic actions. Leaving parents, spouses, siblings, other family members, and friends of the victims emotionally in prison for the rest of their lives. This was never a club that I or anyone would sign up for. When you were a kid, you lose your parents. They call you an orphan. When you're an adult and you lose your spouse, they call you a widow. When you're a parent and lose your child, there's nothing to call you. There's not a word for it. It's that bad. It is that bad. I'm not against drinking, but I am strongly against drinking and driving. Those who drink and drive have no way of knowing how many lives could forever be negatively impacted by their selfish actions or even their decisions. Your one thoughtless choice will always put innocent people at high risk of becoming seriously injured or even worse, dead. These unonly people who become your victims are mothers, fathers, spouses, sons, daughters, good friends. And all these people that I just named, they deserve life. They deserve to live. I plead with those who drink this Super Bowl Sunday weekend. Simple. Don't drive. Just don't drive. And if you do drive, shame on you. But if you're one of these people that want to go celebrate the Super Bowl, have a good time, enjoy your weekend, have a plan like it's been discussed today. Designate a sober driver. Have a plan, designate a sober driver to get you home safely. Give your keys to a person in your group who is going to remain sober before the start of your drinking. Friends, if you think someone has had too much to drink, stop them from driving. Let's be honest. We're at parties, we're at events. Oftentimes we go to that friend, we go to that person we may not know. We ask them, have you had too much to drink? Are you okay to drive? That should be a clue. Because if you're having to ask that person if they are okay to drive, they're probably not okay to drive. If you observe someone who is impaired and preparing to drive, say something to them. I don't want to sound cliches, but in our line of work, we try to push out. If you see something, say something. So if you see this, have that courageous talk with that person that you think is intoxicated. Have that intervention with this person you think is intoxicated. And if all else fails, call the police. Because I can promise you the police will be there. And they will intervene. And just like my chief explained to you guys just a minute ago, you drink, you drive, you're going to go to jail. If you're out on the road driving and you see someone in front of you, beside you, behind you, showing significant signs of impairment, don't hesitate. Don't hesitate. Call the police. Call the police. Give them every bit of information you can about what you're observing so that a police officer can get into your area and prevent that person that you're observing from taking the life of someone else. Don't be that person who, when given the chance, did nothing. Wake up to tomorrow's news and see an innocent person has been killed at the hands of that same person you could have helped stop. Think of it in a more personal way. What if that person or people they kill is your spouse, your son, your daughter, your mother, father, or even a close friend? It's been said here today, law enforcement will be out in numbers this weekend, as they always are. Not just on Super Bowl weekend, but every day. The reality is, can we be everywhere at one time? No, we can't. It's impossible. But that's why we need your help. We need your help to help us save lives. So, together I believe, and I strongly feel that we together can do that. So I close with this. Enjoy the Super Bowl, drink responsibly, and God, I beg and plead, fans, don't let fans drink and drive. Just not this weekend, but every day. Every day. It was an honor for me to be able to hear and share my story. And thank you for listening. And God bless, and I hope it made you proud. Thank you.